Hello, Modern Monarchist here. Welcome to History to Fall Asleep To. If you know anything about a previous channel, you know that I liked to do little excerpts from history books and read from them. It's an interesting way to learn, and it's oftentimes a good way to do it while you're falling asleep or getting ready for bed. The book I've decided to read in its full entirety for this History to Fall Asleep To series is a book that we could all use. It is titled The Last Crusade by Warren Carroll. The Last Crusade covers, in full entirety, the Spanish Civil War. Now, this war is oftentimes one that we always would like to hear about in our circles, but it's very difficult to find good information readily at hand and readily available. That is why I am reading this book, so that in its complex manner, this war can be translated at a reasonable pace and with no cost. All you have to do is lean back, kick back, open your ears, close your eyes, and listen. Now, mind you, this is the Spanish Civil War, and being a person that does not speak a lick of Spanish, I may misinterpret many different words. My accents will be terrible, so I won't even try to do impersonations of real people's voices. Instead, I will do the best I can, and I'll keep it slow, so we don't have too many mishaps and misfortunes while reading. This book was written in the late 90s, so if it has any sort of outdated viewpoints concerning comparisons between the Civil War and the era in which this book was written, well, just so you know, it is a 90s book. So there will be no confusion on your part. Introduction. On the southern slope of the rugged Guadarrama Mountains, just north of Madrid, close by the monastery palace at El Escorial, built by Spain's great king, Philip II, as the material sheet anchor of the faith, the Church, and Christendom, which his life and reign were pledged to defend, a mighty cross pierces the sky. Around its base cluster the four evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, each commemorated by a colossal figure visible from miles away. Lower down, a crypt church stands at the portal of a vast mausoleum, with a line of solemn stone angels bowed over swords, standing on each side of the entranceway. Upon the altar within, Mass continues to be said for the tens of thousands whose mortal remains rest under the hill. It is called the Valley of the Fallen. 60 years have passed since the mighty confrontation between the faith and the revolution, the Spanish Civil War, which took the lives of those who lie there. Few come now to honor them, for people of our time are uneasy with heroes, hostile to crusaders, scornful of martyrs, and prefer to forget both faith and revolution. And more it will memorialize, even to a heedless world, the men of the last crusade. Only such a cross could rightfully mark their sacrifice. Standing before that cross, gazing up at the infinite blue behind and above it, one can seem to hear, faintly and afar, the bugle of the 15-year-old trumpeter of the Alcazar of Toledo, sounding the call to arms to his fellow crusaders after 2.5 tons of TNT had just exploded under them on September 18th, 1936. One can seem to see, beyond the sky, the white-robed army of Spain's martyrs of 1936, at least 10,000 strong, whose refusal to deny Christ, their Lord, on pain of death, bought them instant entry into heaven with their blood, many of whom died praying for their killers. In keeping with the unlimited love and devotion of the martyrs, even those who had fought against the Catholic cause in Spain in this dreadful civil war whose families wished it, were buried in the Valley of the Fallen, alongside those who died fighting for that cause, so that the enemies whom the incarnate God commanded us to love might benefit from the masses in the crypt as well as from the prayers of the martyrs. There is no more Catholic place on earth than the Valley of the Fallen in the Guadarrama Mountains of Spain. Lest Catholic in particular forget, on this anniversary of their sacrifice, it is time to retell their story, especially for our young people who have been denied heroism and crusade, and may yet be called upon for martyrdom. The story must be told honestly, with full respect for historical truth, but let no man demand that it be neutral. There are no neutral histories of the Spanish Civil War. Everyone who writes of that shattering conflict must choose his side, and everyone who writes of it does choose his side, whether he admits it or not. In the words of the French Catholic poet Paul Claudel, heaven and hell are put into your hand, and you have 40 seconds to choose. 40 seconds, too long! Sister Spain, Holy Spain, you have chosen. 11 bishops, 16,000 priests massacred, and not one apostasy. Ah, might I, like you, one day raise my voice to testify in the splendor of noontide.